Bamboo People by Mitali Perkins. Important characters. I have also provided quotes that either describe their physical appearance or personality. Chico is a 15-year-old Burmese boy who wears glasses and aspires to be a teacher. He is one of the protagonists, and the first half of the book is told in his point of view. You grow more like a bamboo pole by the day, taller and skinnier, and you need a haircut. Page 17. Tell you what, if you teach me how to survive this training, I'll teach you to read and write. Page 57. Doll Widow is Chico's older next-door neighbor and a friend of the family. She's very highly respected by both Chico and his mother. She is also Lay's mother. They're coming after your boy. They want him to fight or they'll put him in prison too. Page 21. Doll Widow's raisin eyes are twinkling at me. Page 23. Lay is Doll Widow's daughter. She's a good friend of Chico's and his secret crush. The shining curtain of hair that swings across her shoulders. Had her dark brown eyes always glowed like smooth, polished stones? When did her lips get as red as the flame tree that flowered between our houses? Page 16 and 17. Ty is a 15-year-old Burmese street boy who later becomes like a brother to Chico. Their street accent grates on my ears. His cheeks are smeared with Tanaka, a light-colored paste that common people use to protect their skin from the sun. The short, wiry boy in the torn shirt slides in beside me. His hair is spiky and sticks up like a bush. Page 26 and 27. Utah Dean is a sergeant at the Burmese army camp. A short, squat man walks over. Like the captain, this man is older. I am Sergeant Utah Dean. I am in charge of this platoon's training. Page 36. This is the captain of the platoon at the Burmese army camp. The captain's head swivels, and his eyes glitter under the bushy single line of his eyebrows. A cigarette is clenched between his teeth. The captain takes a drag on his cigarette. Smoke puffs out of his mouth and wafts toward us. Page 30. Ray is a 16-year-old Karenni boy who is forced to flee from his village and join the Karenni army after his village is burned. He is the other protagonist, and the second half of the book is told in his point of view. Every muscle in my body tightens with anger. We can take them, rifles or no rifles. I'm strong. My thighs and arms are as big as Pei's now. Page 138 to 141. Pei is Ray's father and a leader of the Karenni resistance. A man full of hatred is like a gun, my son. He can be used for only one purpose, to kill. I won't command you, my son. A Karenni man must decide for himself. Leave him for the animals, end his life now, or carry him to the healer. It's your choice. Page 148 to 149. Bu Ray is Sa Ray's father and a refugee leader at the Karenni camp. Bu Ray, Sa Ray's father, who leads the charge across the river to push back the soldiers. Usually the first to fire, Bu Ray manages our stash of weapons and coordinates our defense plans. Page 198. Sa Ray is Ray's best friend and the son of Bu Ray. He's an enemy, a Burmese. Why are we treating him as a guest? Page 212. I can't believe you'd actually bring a Burmese soldier. No excuses. How could you do it? How could you take that soldier to her, risking your life and theirs? For his? Page 223. Naya May is a Karenni healer who attempts to help Chico. She is also May's sister. Her hair is pinned back and there's a scar across one cheek. Her voice sounds like music. Page 161 to 163. May is Naya May's sister and a love interest of Ray. A girl about my age comes into sight. She's wearing a black tunic and white sash like other Karenni girls. She moves quickly across the ground. As she gets closer, I see a long braid of hair swinging behind her. She is pretty. Page 156 to 158. This is Naya May and May's grandfather. He is very respected. An old man sits cross-legged on a mat about to eat rice. Page 158. Grandfather must make the decision. We take the Burmese boy with us, he says. Page 166. Setting. Yangon, Burma. The book starts off in the capital of Burma, Yangon. This is where Chico, his mother and father, Lay, Doll Widow, Tai, and his sister Swati live. It is here where Chico gets kidnapped in the government building while waiting to take the teacher's test. On the road behind our house, horns toot, sirens blare, and bicycle rickshaws crowd the street. Page 1. The rickshaw speeds through the tree-lined streets. Sidewalk vendors are beginning to set up wares for the afternoon. The rickshaw veers to avoid children playing in the streets. Page 25. Burmese Army Recruitment Camp. Located somewhere in Burma. One of the main parts of the camp is the gym that was once part of a Karenni school where the soldiers and recruits sleep and congregate. Chico is taken here to learn how to become a soldier. It is here where he becomes very good friends with Tai. After what seems like endless hours through the dark mountains, the bus stops with a jolt. We emerge into the cool night air. It's hard to see anything in the dark. All I can make out is one wide, low building, another smaller one, and a muddy, open field between them. Page 35 and 36. We enter the larger building. This place was once a gym, and two netless rims stand like sentries at either end of the hall. A few kerosene lamps spill pools of yellow light onto the hard floor, and blankets are piled here and there. A large poster is taped over the entrance. Military Training Center, it declares. Page 36. A very broad setting. This is where Chico goes on the mission with the 4 other Burmese soldiers that die in the explosion from the landmine. This is also where we are first introduced to Tu-Ray and his father, Pei, when they find Chico and the other dead soldiers. Tu-Ray travels through the forest to bring Chico to the healer's hut. Later, Tu-Ray, Chico, Ri-Mei, Nyame, and their grandfather travel through to get to the Karenni refugee camp. Sunlight streams through the canopy of leaves and sparkles on the water. Monsoon clouds cover the sun and the air thickens. There is a rickety footbridge spanning the river that crosses into Thailand. The main trail has dwindled into a slim, muddy line that keeps disappearing under vines and leaves. Page 130 to 132. Biting flies buzz around our heads, branches snap beneath our feet, the endless crackle of leaves. Shadows shorten and then lengthen as the sun moves overhead. Page 175. Karenni Refugee Camp. This is the camp that Tu-Ray, Ri-Mei, Nyame, and their grandfather take Chico to get medical help. This is where Tu-Ray and Sa-Ray live. Ri-Mei, Nyame, and their grandfather also move here. It is located along the Thai-Burma border. Home in the camp is a bamboo hut on stilts. I head to the building where we gather for meetings. The medic's hut isn't far from here. Page 195 to 197. We stroll side by side down the path. The sun is climbing high behind the mountains, and bamboo leaves on both banks shake lightly in the breeze. A bridge spans the deepest, widest part of the river. We pass the building that's used for meetings and a smaller one that serves as our school. The two buildings face each other across an open field. Barbed wire borders the camp on one side. The river, edged with bamboo, marks the other side. We've built several rickety wooden watchtowers to keep an eye out for invaders. Page 220 to 221. Summary. The book takes place in Burma. The Burmese and Karenni people, an ethnic minority, are at war. A Burmese boy named Chico lives with his mother. 4 months before the story begins, Chico's father was arrested for providing medical care to an enemy of the state, a leader of the freedom and democracy movement. Page 8. He was labeled as a traitor of the government and taken away. Since then, Chico and his mother have been trying to keep quiet so the same fate does not befall them. One day, Chico reads about an open teacher's position. He's extremely smart, one of the few Burmese boys who can read and write in both English and Burmese. Chico's mother doesn't want him to go because she believes the government is lying about the teaching position. She doesn't want to lose Chico and be all alone. After talking with her, his next-door neighbor Daw Widow, and her daughter Lei, he decides to go to the government building in Yangon, Burma's capital, to take the test to become a teacher. Here, he sees a filthy young boy and a girl. He doesn't understand why street kids would be applying for a teaching job and instantly becomes suspicious. He turns to leave when, bang, a side door bursts open. Soldiers pour into the room. They're shouting and waving rifles. Chico shields his head with his arms. Girls and boys alike are screaming. The soldiers prod and herd some of them together and push the rest apart as if they're cows or goats. Page 26 to 27. Chico and the street boy get taken to a Burmese recruitment camp by the captain and his soldiers. When they arrive, they meet Sergeant Utah Dean, who is in charge of the camp. Chico becomes close with the street boy, whose name is Tai. Tai tells Chico that the girl with him at the government building was his sister Swati and that they live in the street together. The boys instantly bond and become very close. They become so close that Tai calls Chico Ko, which means older brother. Later, the sergeant asks Chico to write letters for him. Without the sergeant admitting it, Chico realizes that the sergeant can't read. He seizes the opportunity to write to one of the sergeant's good friends and ask if his father is still alive. He receives word back that he is and is being used as a doctor. Chico's thrilled, and his faith in getting back home is renewed. Chico reads a letter that the army is looking for a desk clerk who can read and write to go work back in Yangon. This means he can go back home. While waiting to go home, Chico teaches Tai how to read and write. Tai proves to be a fast learner. A couple of days later, the captain comes to the camp. He picks Tai to leave the camp and go on a special mission. Chico volunteers instead, telling the captain that Tai was offered the desk clerk position and is unable to go on the mission. He does this to protect Tai and so he can go and find his sister. Tai, shocked, watches as Chico is taken away. When Chico arrives at the new camp, he is sent on a mission right away. He and 4 other boys are sent to find and destroy a hut which is supposed to be housing Karenni weapons. They venture out into the forest to find the hut. Chico strays from the group looking for a shortcut to the hut. Suddenly, a boom echoes through the forest and Chico falls to the ground. We are now introduced to Tu-Ray and his father, called Pei, the Karenni word for father. They hear the landmine explode and go to see what happened. They find the 4 boys all dead, Chico laying a little ways away. After taking the 4 Burmese soldiers' supplies and guns, Pei goes to Chico and sees he is still alive, but there is splintered bone of skin poking through a shredded pant leg. Page 146. Tu-Ray wants to shoot Chico right there and kill him, but his father decides to wrap his leg. He tells Tu-Ray the decision is his. Either leave Chico in the forest to die or bring him back to the healer's hut. The alleged hut full of weapons was actually the healer's hut. After a long internal struggle, Tu-Ray decides to bring Chico back to the hut. After a long trek through the forest, Tu-Ray carries Chico inside and meets Ri Mei, a girl his age. She in turn tells him to carry Chico over to her sister, Naya Mei, the healer. Tu-Ray, sure that the healer was the girl's grandfather, is shocked but does as Ri Mei asks. After Naya Mei works on Chico for a while, she declares that he will have to have his leg amputated to survive, a process she doesn't know how to do. The grandfather tells Tu-Ray that they will bring Chico back to the Karenni camp and the doctor there will take care of the amputation. Tu-Ray is furious. He doesn't want to bring Chico back to the camp. He doesn't know how the other Karenni people will act and doesn't want his loyalty to be questioned. They leave for camp in the morning anyways. When they reach it, Tu-Ray is summoned to talk to the leader of the camp and Bu-Ray, his best friend Sa-Ray's father, to decide whether Chico is a spy. After a long debate, they reach the conclusion that he is not a spy. They allow him to get fitted for a prosthetic leg and to return home. Chico is very grateful to Tu-Ray and the rest of them for helping him. Chico departs for the journey home by saying, "Goodbye, my brother," to Tu-Ray. They have been through a lot, and those words especially mean a lot to Tu-Ray because Chico learned to say it in Karenni, Tu-Ray's native language. Chico returns home to find Tai, Sawati, Dal Widow, Lay, and his mother there to greet him. His mother is crying. Seeing how thin he is, she rushes to go make him some rice. He is surprised that no one is making a big deal about his prosthetic and keeps trying to work the fact that he is missing his leg into every conversation. No one cares that he lost his leg, they are just grateful and ecstatic that he is returned home. Tai then reveals the biggest surprise yet. His father has been released from prison and is returning home.